Hey, I'm Keep It Simple for me, keeping it simple for you. And this is Why I Hate Albus Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series.
Don't ignore me, Severus. Don't tell me now that you've grown to care for the boy.
I guess I should start by clarifying that this is 100% opinion, obviously, and that I'm not trying to force it upon anyone. This is my opinion. She says Dumbledore sucks, and you know what? It's okay, because look how cute she is. She's even got that American pride. So please, don't attack my opinion. In fact, you can get your own. Wow, okay, so now that I've gone over that, I guess I should start at the very beginning. So for those of you hardcore Harry Potter fans that know every backstory and twist of the plot that there is, this is just gonna kind of be a smooth ride for you. For those that don't, this is definitely not a spoiler-free video, and I'm gonna try not to go into too much detail so I don't bore anyone, but I'm gonna kind of walk you through the entire series and every little thing about Dumbledore that ticks me off. So, starting with Dumbledore's childhood. Most of you know that he had a sister named Ariana and a brother named Aberforth, and that he was born to a half-blood family, and that's basically it. Well, when Ariana was young and just discovering her magical abilities, she accidentally used them in front of some Muggle boys. They attacked her brutally, and she was mentally and physically scarred forever. Her dad, in turn, attacked the Muggle boys and was arrested and sent to Azkaban. So Dumbledore's childhood was far from harmonious, and I completely respect that. In fact, I don't have a problem with Dumbledore at this point in his life. He makes a lot of bad decisions, but the good thing is he notices them, recognizes them, and tries to fix them. My problem is later on in life how he tries to atone for his mistake, or doesn't try to atone for his mistake in a lot of situations. Anyway, so basically Dumbledore goes off to Hogwarts, becomes friends with Grindelwald, falls in love with him, and they decide that they're going to take down all the Muggles in the world. That they both hate Muggles, that they're powerful enough to do it, and that becomes their plan. Well, Aberforth eventually confronts Dumbledore. There's that big duel. Most of you will know about it. And Ariana tries to... Sorry, I keep shifting. I'm clearly not used to this professional environment, you know, where I'm staring at my bookcase and talking into a little red dot. But basically, the duel takes place. Ariana tries to intervene. She has a breakdown, a wayward curse hits her, and she dies. And that mistake will haunt Dumbledore for the rest of his life, because no one knows who killed her, but he knows he was partially responsible. So all of his family ends up dead, aside from Aberforth, and he cuts off that relationship because they cannot get over what happened as children. And so Dumbledore goes back to Hogwarts, continues his life, and becomes an extremely, extremely successful, powerful wizard. Wow, this jacket's hot. How do people wear these? Can you see what happens when I try to look professional? I'm wearing basketball shorts right now under this. Anyway. So, Dumbledore becomes a teacher at Hogwarts eventually, and this is where I think everything starts to go downhill. I cannot stand the choices Dumbledore makes from here on out, because, for starters, he's in charge of recruiting Tom Riddle and bringing him to Hogwarts so that he stops causing trouble at the orphanage. Now, unlike a lot of people, I don't have a problem with this. I don't think that Dumbledore was in the wrong for bringing Tom to Hogwarts, and that it's entirely his fault that all this happened. Because what was he supposed to do? Leave Tom in the orphanage to become a powerful wizard there with no training, no one to back him up? You know, he would go insane quite earlier than he did. So Dumbledore brings him to Hogwarts, totally fine with that. My problem is that he's suspicious of Tom from the beginning. He's not fooled by his charming personality. He instantly recognizes kind of his disturbing patterns of behavior and attitude, and he doesn't do anything about it. Now, obviously, Tom didn't trust Dumbledore, so their relationship wasn't good, but that doesn't mean that Dumbledore couldn't have tried to counsel him, prevent him from spiraling so far down. But we don't see any of that. Meanwhile, Tom is opening the Chamber of Secrets, killing Myrtle, to which Dumbledore can't find any proof. He is inquiring of Slughorn what a Horcrux is. He's slowly turning into a monster, and Dumbledore does very, very, very little to intervene. So that bothers me, but I can get over that. I can understand it was early in Dumbledore's career. There wasn't much he could do. Oh, but just you wait. It gets worse. So, Dumbledore becomes headmaster eventually of Hogwarts and goes to take on Grindelwald, who's risen to power again, and Dumbledore's the only one who can stop him. So he defeats him, gets the Elder Wand from him, and that's something that a lot of people forget. So keep that in mind. Because we all get so distracted, I did too, by who the owner of the Elder Wand was by the end of the 7th book. Was it Harry, Snape, Draco, Voldemort? Who was it? Well, I think we all get so caught up on that we forget that Dumbledore's had it since before Harry was born. He's been in possession of the freaking Elder Wand. Does that mean nothing to anyone? One of the reasons he didn't use it, of course, is he didn't want to feed his ambition because he knew that was his weak spot, that he craved power. So I respect Dumbledore for recognizing that. So why not destroy the Elder Wand? It's not like he knew. I mean, sure, Dumbledore has some good foresight, although he doesn't put it to good use, as I'll show you soon. But obviously he couldn't see it so far into the future that he could tell, oh, Harry's going to be in possession of this someday, and he'll use it to defeat Voldemort. Of course not. He had no idea he was even going to die in Harry's 6th year of Hogwarts. So why did he keep the Elder Wand? I mean, Harry breaks it in half and throws it off a cliff when he gets it. Oh, Dumbledore. So he keeps the Elder Wand in his possession, doesn't use it for good, doesn't use it for anything, and also doesn't destroy it. Probably not the best move, but hey. That's really not as bad as it gets. So, Dumbledore becomes headmaster, has the Elder Wand now. Tom has graduated. He asks for a teaching position at Hogwarts, to which Dumbledore refuses. Now, that's another problem I have, is Dumbledore being the almighty, wise wizard he was, he couldn't have figured out a way to hire Voldemort and then find proof that he was evil, or maybe stop him, kept a closer eye on him. No, he refuses Voldemort. Voldemort throws a temper tantrum. He curses the Defense Against the Dark Arts post so that no one can hold it for over a year, and then runs off and becomes one of the most powerful wizards ever. Awesome. But just you wait. It gets even better. I feel like one of those infomercials, like, that's not all. Yeah. That's not all there is to Dumbledore either. So, what do you know? Dumbledore remains headmaster, and he is the headmaster during what I guess everyone refers to as the Marauders generation. Now, the Marauders generation is extremely, extremely pivotal. And this is because not only are Lily and James there, and, all our favorite, Remus, Sirius, all our good old friends, I guess. There's all these Slytherins that are being led astray by Voldemort. Now, one of the biggest thorns in Dumbledore's side for the rest of his life, and Harry's, and everyone else's really, are the Death Eaters. Voldemort would not have been able to return were it not for all his loyal followers. So where'd they come from? Well, obviously, Bellatrix and Lucius Malfoy, and, a lot of them came from Slytherin, but some came from Gryffindor, like Peter Pettigrew and other houses. But they all came from the Marauders generation, as far as we know. Now, obviously, there wasn't much Dumbledore could do to prevent Bellatrix Lestrange from becoming a Death Eater. She was off her rocker since birth, I'm going to take a gamble. But, what about the likes of Snape? I mean, he becomes a good guy. He becomes a loyal follower of Dumbledore. So clearly, he wasn't really all that evil to begin with. So why did he join the Death Eaters? Well, let's look back. So, through all of Snape's Hogwarts experience, he's bullied. Badly. And by badly, I mean it escalates from, showing his underwear to the school, to Sirius telling him to climb the Whomping Willow so that it will kill him. I don't know about you, but if my school had a bullying problem so bad that kids' lives were at risk, I would expect my principal to step in. The principal at my school has a really, really strict anti-bullying policy. You'd think Hogwarts would have that too. I mean, it's Hogwarts. It's our magical home of wonderfulness. Come on, Dumbledore. But no. So this bullying goes on. Dumbledore doesn't intervene at all, as far as we know. And if he does, it's not successful at all, clearly, because I believe that if Dumbledore had intervened, James would have stopped. He wasn't that bad of a guy. And that's coming from me, who hates James Potter. Yeah, I know. Write me down as a really bad person. I hate Dumbledore and James Potter? What? But don't worry. This is just Dumbledore's video. Maybe I'll hit on James later. I don't know if he deserves it. Anyway, so Dumbledore doesn't try to prevent any of these Slytherins from becoming Death Eaters, when most of them just become Death Eaters because they feel like they don't have another place that they're accepted. They feel like the only thing they're good at is the dark arts, and that's the only future they have. Come on, Dumbledore, get with the program! You could have prevented this with a little bit of counseling, maybe an anti-bullying policy, maybe some encouraging not to get so involved in the dark arts. I mean, you're the freaking headmaster of Hogwarts. You're the most powerful wizard around at this point. You couldn't prevent a few kids from, getting their feelings hurt and becoming Death Eaters? But no, that doesn't occur to Dumbledore, and so some of the worst wizards of all time emerge and begin to follow Voldemort. Well, Snape returns to Dumbledore, as all of you know, tells him he heard the prophecy, begs him to protect Lily and James and Harry, which Dumbledore agrees to, but Dumbledore makes him promise, I promise to protect Lily, James, and Harry if you promise to pledge your allegiance to me. They make the deal. Dumbledore falls short on his side of the bargain, and Lily and James die. Why? You can say, well, that's not Dumbledore's fault. He tried his hardest, and gosh darn, Peter Pettigrew just got in the way. You're telling me that the most powerful wizard of all time, and the most powerful, best headmaster of Hogwarts ever, clearly not, couldn't take on Peter Pettigrew? Couldn't prevent Peter Pettigrew from betraying the Potters? Ouch. Okay. So Dumbledore couldn't do that. So Lily and James are dead, and he still forces Snape to be loyal to him, which in the end is a good thing, I guess. But, so while all this is happening, he tells Snape, okay, since Harry lived, I'm going to put him in the Dursleys' home, heaven knows why, and when he comes to Hogwarts, I want you to protect him. I know he reminds you of your childhood tormentor and your true love that you betrayed to death, but, it's okay, because I don't want to do it, so go for it. So he makes Severus Snape Harry's protector. He puts Harry in the Dursleys' home because it's protected by Lily's ancient magic of love. When really, if Voldemort had been defeated at that point and doesn't even return to a Goblet of Fire, Dumbledore has this double agent that could tell him if Voldemort was going to return soon. Dumbledore's in charge of what is supposed to be the safest place in the whole wizarding world, Hogwarts. He couldn't have found a different home for Harry? No, of course not. Of course not. Because that's not how Dumbledore rolls. So he ruins Harry's life by putting him in the Dursleys' home. He ruins Snape's life by making him watch over Harry and torment himself year after year. And just you wait, he'll ruin more lives. Stick around. So, skipping ahead, I'm trying not to take too long, I'm sorry. I just don't want to miss out any of the terrible things that Dumbledore does, you know? So, Harry's first year of school, Dumbledore hires Professor Quirrell to be the teacher of the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. You gotta wonder why. Because Dumbledore clearly suspects Quirrell. He does. That's why he sends Snape after him to, kind of spy on him, and that's why Snape ends up getting almost mauled by Fluffy. Or, yeah, Fluffy. Fang's the other one. Don't worry, I know my Harry Potter. All these F names, it just throws me off. Anyway, so he tells Snape, kind of throws Snape under the bus like he's been doing Snape's whole life, and will continue to do until Snape's death. He throws Snape under the bus and says, alright, you watch Quirrell, even though there's a good chance that he's working for Voldemort and Voldemort might suspect your loyalty. You watch Quirrell, I'll let him be a teacher here, even though Voldemort's living off the back of his head, and I kind of suspect that he is. Meanwhile, we'll hide the Sorcerer's Stone, a very important magical object, in the school, put layers of deadly protection around it, at a school full of children, and, we'll see how that goes. Well, we all know how it goes. Quirrell ends up actually being evil, as Dumbledore suspected. Snape is suspected the entire time. Thanks a lot, Dumbledore. That's also your fault. And Quirrell gets past the layers of dangerous protection that Dumbledore put around the stone. 3 11-year-old children get past the layers of deadly protection. I mean, of course, at the risk of Ron's life, but it's all good because they make it through, Harry makes it through, confronts Voldemort face to face, finds the stone, and in the end... I'm sorry, I always laugh at this part because it's just so ridiculous to me. And in the end, Dumbledore's like, yeah, we don't need the stone anyway. We'll just destroy it. Thanks for playing. Like, it's like the Dumbledore, wizard games. What is this? So he destroys the stone. All of that was for nothing. And we move on to second year. Second, third, and fourth years, we can basically just group together as Dumbledore being a crappy headmaster, once again. Because he's barely there, but he's there. Like, for instance, second movie, The Chamber of Secrets reopens, which Dumbledore knew about because he knew about it when Tom opened it the first time. Why he didn't attempt to destroy it, I don't know. I mean, I know he can't speak Parseltongue, but he couldn't have destroyed the entrance. It wouldn't have been hard to find. But no, that's not how Dumbledore rolls. He's got to keep Harry on his feet every year. So, second year, he allows all these children to get hurt, doesn't really do anything about it. He's hired Gilderoy Lockhart as the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. And in the end, yay, he's found a Horcrux. Good job, Dumbledore, I guess. Alright, third movie/book. Once again, doing a terrible, terrible job at protecting the kids at his school. He allows a werewolf to teach at Hogwarts. Don't get me wrong, I love Remus, but probably not the smartest idea. Especially considering Remus does end up wolfing out, thanks to his old rivalry with Snape and all that jazz. So he wolfs out, almost kills a bunch of people, and it's all good because Dumbledore knew what he was doing the whole time. He sends Harry and Hermione back in time and rescues everybody that needed to be rescued, right? Wrong. Sometimes I feel like Dumbledore's just flying by the seat of his robes, I guess. I mean, he didn't catch Peter Pettigrew in the castle that whole time, or Sirius on the grounds towards the end of the book/movie. No, of course not. So moving on to fourth year, same thing. He allows the most dangerous tournament ever to be held at Hogwarts, allows these kids to risk their lives, and in the end gets one of them killed, doesn't notice that a teacher he hired was actually hidden inside the castle as his imposter strolled around and endangered Harry's life. He allowed an ex-Death Eater to come into the castle and influence Snape, or try to. Dumbledore, you had one job, buddy. You had one job. Headmaster. No, but Dumbledore can't be a headmaster, as we've clearly learned, so moving on to the fifth book/movie, we're going to focus on his neglect of Harry. Because he didn't already neglect Ariana enough as a kid. Now he's neglecting Harry because he's afraid of Harry's mental connection with Voldemort. Well, that's great, because we all know Harry was real stable that year without Dumbledore's support. So Harry kind of goes off the deep end. This mental connection is just getting stronger and more difficult for him to deal with as Dumbledore just kind of lets things happen and only appears when absolutely necessary. Well, when Harry finally snaps, he has a choice. Should I teach Harry occlumency? Nah, I don't really feel like it. I'm afraid Voldemort might see what's in my brain, so I'm going to throw Snape under the bus yet again, set him up for unsuccessful lessons because they both hate each other anyway, and allow Voldemort to possibly see into Snape's brain or Harry to possibly see into it. It's all good. Snape's just expendable like that. So, wow, I think this is the most I've rolled my eyes in a long time. I'm like waiting for my contacts to just pop out with my rage at Dumbledore. So, sorry, I feel like I'm gonna need some water after this. Have I been talking that long? I'm so sorry. I just feel it needs to be said because, after all this, the lessons are unsuccessful. Of course. Voldemort still takes advantage of the mental connection he has with Harry. Meanwhile, Snape is scarred for life because Harry saw a bunch of his memories, his most painful memories, that Dumbledore didn't try to prevent at all. The Order of the Phoenix risked their lives, Sirius dies, and finally Dumbledore appears with the Elder Wand. He could have used for so much. He kind of just does some waterworks, pretty spells. None of it works. Voldemort possesses Harry. Dumbledore kind of stands there with a sad, genuinely sad look on his face as Harry is tormented from the inside out by this mental connection that Dumbledore could have prevented anyway just by teaching Harry occlumency. Dumbledore watches, doesn't really do anything, and at the end of the book/movie, he's off the hook anyway because everyone believes him that Voldemort's back, and so it's like, yay, Dumbledore was right this whole time, despite the fact that he's been ruining people's lives since before Harry was even born. Alright, so moving on to Book 6, Movie 6, which is possibly the most annoying thing to me ever. Because Dumbledore slips. Yeah, he slipped up, Dumbledore fans. I respect you for liking whichever character you want to like, but he slips up. He's not perfect old Grandpa Merlin-ish character that he tries to be because, well, I'm gonna regret saying all that. That was a jumbled mess of hate for Dumbledore that came out wrong. But, 6 /6 book, he slips up. He puts a Horcrux on his finger because he thinks he's going to see his family again because it has the resurrection stone in there because, that's worked before. So he puts it on, curses himself, he's going to die within a year. I'm just realizing how fast I'm talking. And he tells Snape, hey, I know I've destroyed your life and everything kind of sucks for you right now. And I know you're already protecting Harry with your life and it's been really difficult for you. But not only do I want you to protect Harry, I want you to protect Harry. And Harry's gonna die anyway, so don't worry about it. Protect him with your life, but, if you die for him, he'll probably end up dying in the next book anyway. Because that's my plan this whole time. By the way, so you're protecting Harry, you might as well protect Draco too. Even though he's gonna become a Death Eater, you've gotta look like you're loyal to Voldemort, because I forced you into this double agent stuff. So, you gotta protect Draco too with your life, and you gotta protect me too. But by the end of this year, you gotta kill me. Isn't he a great friend? Yay, Team Dumbledore. So Snape spends that entire year upset because he has to kill his best friend and the only person that knows that he's loyal to the good side, therefore ruining his reputation when he does kill him. He's got to protect Harry, even though Harry hates him at this point, and even more at the end of the book/movie. He's got to protect Draco, who hates him at this point as well. And meanwhile, Dumbledore just kind of sits back and lets Harry and Snape do all the work. And then at the end, he's like, hey, Draco, I know you've been going to this school for 6 years, and I've noticed this inner turmoil with you, struggling between bad and good, and I have done nothing about it. I haven't counseled you. I haven't noticed you at all. I'm noticing you now, and I'm saying, please don't kill me. thanks. You know, if you could not do that, that would be great. Huh, just kidding. I already told Snape to do it. You gotta wonder. Anyway, so Dumbledore dies, therefore ruining Harry's life, Snape's life, and pretty much everyone's emotional levels. Except for mine, because I kind of rejoiced, and I thought everyone in the movie theater was going to throwing stars for Dumbledore at me. But they have this big ceremony that if one person on the earth doesn't deserve it, it's Dumbledore. But they throw this big ceremony for him anyway, where they all light up the tips of their wands, and I want to participate every time, but I can't because I'm too busy being happy that he's dead and being upset that he's getting all this attention. So Dumbledore dies. By the way, he did not destroy the Elder Wand before he dies. Oh no, why would he do that? You know, he buries himself with it. Therefore leaving it open to Voldemort's accessibility. So 7th movie, 7th book. He hasn't gone away yet, folks. He's died, but he is along for the ride. He's going to watch all these people die for his plan. He's going to watch one of the most traumatizing, probably the most overwhelming scene in all literature, movie, series, ever. The Battle of Hogwarts. There are people outside my window, and they are scantily clad. Don't go out in public scantily clad. That's been a public service announcement from Keep It Simple for me. Anyway. That's why I'm wearing the jacket. So, where was I? Oh yeah, hating Dumbledore. So, book 7, movie 7, he watches all these people die for his plan. Awesome. He told Snape before he died, by the way, you gotta give Harry these memories so he knows to kill himself or allow himself to be killed. So Snape dies for no reason at all. He didn't have the Elder Wand, or he wasn't in possession of it anyway. He could have given his memories to Harry or just told him face to face. If the Elder Wand had just been destroyed, Dumbledore, Snape would have lived. But no. Snape dies for no reason at all. Harry watches his memories, allows himself to be killed, sees Dumbledore at the train station, and basically Dumbledore tells him, awesome, I don't know what to do now. What? Harry's like, okay, Dumbledore, I realize my whole life was a lie, thanks to you. What do I do now? And Dumbledore says, heck, I don't know, my work here is done, I can get on the train. So he leaves. Harry comes back to life, defeats Voldemort, and then names his son after probably the worst wizard, in my opinion, who's ever lived. Aside from Voldemort himself. And probably Bellatrix, because she's just a sick, twisted weirdo. So yeah, that was why I hate Dumbledore. I hope I've opened your eyes to something. Maybe you still love Dumbledore and you're mad at me for this video. I'm totally cool with that. Just remember... Oh yeah, I threw her on the other side of the room. 1 second. It's all my opinion. I don't care if you love Dumbledore. Go for it. I will cheer you on because I understand having a deep love for a character. But I hate Dumbledore. And this has been Keep It Simple for me, keeping it simple for you. Thanks for watching. Go America. God, Dumbledore sucks.